the meditation of our hearts be always acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our strength and Redeemer. Amen. You can be seated. I hear what Jesus is saying here in the gospel, and it almost forms a meme in my head. I do not judge anyone who hears my words and does not keep them, for I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. That's the first panel. It's Jesus kind of. And then the second panel. The one who rejects me and does not receive my word has a judge. On the last day, the word that I have spoken will serve as judge, for I have spoken not my own, but the Father who sent me has himself given commandment about what to say and what to speak. That's the second panel. And underneath, it's the Mr. Incredible face. Those who know and those who don't know and those who know. There's something, and it's not reserved to just the West. It's not reserved to just Christianity. But there's this fast foodification of everything. And we want the simple, we want the quick, we want the easy. And the simple, quick, and easy is, I do not come to judge anyone who hears my words and does not keep them, for I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. It's like in Dogma, good guy Jesus. There's no judgment. This is everybody. Everything's accepted. Just open wide the doors. There's no rules. Just come on in. But in reality, he's saying the one who rejects me and does not receive my word has a judge. So there is a judge, just not Jesus. On the last day, the word that I have spoken will serve as judge. So the laws he gives, the things he teaches will serve as judge. On the last day, the word I have spoken will serve as judge, for I have not spoken on my own, but the Father who sent me has himself given me as a commandment about what to say and what to speak. So what Jesus says and does, his life is the commandment that God the Father has given us. And we will be judged by whether we do it or not. So Jesus doesn't come to judge because our actions judge ourselves. Judge not lest ye be judged, but everything we do is a judgment against us. That's language coming from the Old Testament. In the Psalms particularly, let this serve as a judgment against me. We think of judgment in modern society as something that is bad. If we judge people, that's wrong. We're not to judge. No, we're not, because what they do will judge that. But in the Old Testament, judgment was something that they longed for, something that they pleaded for. Again, in the Psalms, you see it over, send judgment, send judgment, send judgment. Because there was a surety and a comfort in the fact that when judgment came, justice would come. Now, again, it's not our justice, it's divine justice, it's God's justice. So when we call down judgment, we see this where we call judgment down on those who hurt us or persecute us, we're also calling judgment down on ourselves. But if we know that we are living according to the commandments that Jesus has given, to the commandment that the Father has given through Jesus, then we don't fear that judgment. If you are going before an earthly judge in a courtroom, and you know that you have done no wrong, and the other party has, then yes, you ask for judgment. You want to get to the end of the trial because you want them to be punished and your injury to be restored. Now, with a human judge, there's all sorts of ifs, ands, and buts. Well, there's evidence, and there's a jury, and maybe this, and maybe that. There's a fallibility, but with God, there's not. So when we call for that judgment, we don't need to worry about, maybe the evidence is going to not come out in my favor because God knows all and sees all and is everywhere. So every little bit of it's going to be there. So the question then is, do you really want to call judgment on yourself? That's the warning that Jesus gives. He's not telling us not to judge. He's saying that when we call for judgment, we're calling for judgment on ourselves as well. And so when we say, they did this and they did that and this hurt me, the judge at the end will know whether we're telling the truth. The judge at the end will know all of the facts that lead to that person doing that. The things that we don't know, that we don't operate with. We say, well, I was hurt by this. Well, yes, okay. Yes, they pushed you down, but you didn't see the speeding car they pushed you out of the way of. You didn't see the fact that what you were doing was harming someone else or harming yourself, and they were trying to help. Human judges, human courtrooms, human juries cannot judge the intent of the human heart, but God can. So if we operate with good intentions and have bad outcomes, do you judge yourself by that? I used to teach an ethics class, and one of the things I always say is we judge ourselves by our intent and everyone else by their actions. Because we can't see their intent. Their intent is irrelevant to us, and our actions essentially are irrelevant to us when we judge ourselves. We know what we meant to. Well, I didn't mean to hurt them. I meant to do this. I didn't mean to eat the last cookie. I was just hungry. I didn't mean to say that. I meant it this way, and you heard it that way. We only deal with one perspective. God deals with them all. But we need to understand that as well. So that when we do call for judgment, which we should be calling for judgment on us and on everyone else, because we want God's justice to be here. We want things to be set aright. But we have to understand that we're calling for that judgment upon ourselves as well. And that means we need to act like we're going to be judged. We need to act like the one who does know our intentions is going to cast a ballot as to whether we've done good or not. With the passing of Pope Francis, there were all sorts of memes of him showing up and pearly gates and all sorts of interactions with Peter. And I don't think there's going to be a literal book and a literal gate, but I think there is going to be some sort of telling. Whether it's the intentions and the sins and the good that we have done that's written on our hearts, and that's the book. However you want to view it, I think we need to spend some time judging ourselves, because we will be judged, to invert that saying just a little bit. To God be all the glory, now and forever.